it should be open and running. You should have a working code, means that whenever you run the code, the local, it should run in the local host without any problem. And you should have an account with Docker Hub. You should have an account with Docker Hub. If you don't have, you need to create one account with the Docker Hub, and you can log in with the same in this particular Docker desktop. So I already have this account created. So like this, we can log in, and we can log in with the same credentials into this particular Docker desktop. Now, the points which we need to look into is, once we are okay with the prerequisites, and the first point is we should have an application which is developed in Node.js. Here we are performing Docker deployment using the used created by using Node.js and TypeScripts, wherein we do have all the working code here, and we'll perform this. So as a first step, we need to initially identify and check or validate whether the application is running or not. Here, to validate, to install any dependencies, we need to use a script called npm install, so that it will install all the required dependencies for the coding which we perform. You can see here, node underscore modules is a folder created, wherein all the dependencies and the related packages will be installed in this particular node underscore modules folder with the script or with the command called npm install. So once it is done, we need to run this particular server in the local host to check whether it is running or not. Once it is completed, I will run this command npm run dev, so that to see if this particular application is running correctly or not. Because before proceeding with the Docker deployment, we need to make sure we have a working source code which is running successfully without any problems in the local host. Now you can see the packages are compiled and it is coming up. You can see the name of the clone, Airbnb clone. We are doing this. So if you are looking to learn the coding, or if you are looking to for any source code of any clone, you can see the links in the description. You can buy the full working code, so that you can use this for your personal purpose or for your learning purpose. Everything you can do that. So this is a 100% working clone. It will be 100% working perfect. Now if you see, there are the dependencies or the packages which got executed in this particular node underscore modules. What is our first step? Our first step is next step is to run npm run under space dev. This is to run the application on the local host. So if you run this, it will start running, and it is showing it is running on the local host 3000. So what we need to do is, we need to copy this and execute in the local host. As I told, that initially we need to make sure your application is working perfectly in your local host. Then only there is it will help out for you to deploy in Docker and get the application working without any issues. If it is not working in the local host itself, there is no point of executing this particular thing. So it is still compiling. It is taking some time to load and compile all the required packages. And now we will be seeing the application coming up slowly as we see the compilation happening here. You can see here, this particular application is running fine, and we are able to see all this data. We are able to see all this information, all these related points. We are just validating whether all these are working fine or not. And so you can understand that this particular application is in working state now, and it is ready to go ahead and deploy in your Docker hub. You can create an image, you can create a Docker image, and you will be deploying that into the hub, and from there you will be running that into a container, so that you don't need all these setup, all this one. Everything will be created as an image, and you just need to run the image. Then automatically the code which is there in the image will execute and give us a container which will be in a running state. So this is running, and now what is our next step here? Our next step here is, once execution successful, we need to make sure we have Docker desktop already available. And next step is to create a Docker file. So we need to create a Docker file. For that, initially I will stop the execution, as we confirm that it is working fine, and I am stopping the execution. Now what I am doing is, we need to create a Docker image. Docker image is nothing but a virtual machine with the required commands. So we need to pass this queries or the commands for creating an image. As I told, Docker image means it is a virtual system which is installed with the required softwares. So now I want to create a virtual machine where the Node.js is already installed. For that, I need to create an image from means this Node 18 alpha is already available in the public. So I will be calling that particular image, or I'll be calling that command, so that I want to create a virtual machine with Node.js already installed in that. What is the next step? Once the VM virtual machine or the operating system or the desktop is ready with Node.js already installed, what I need to do is, we will create a work directory, or we will move our activities to app folder. We are telling the image, this is, we are creating an image. We are telling to the image, saying that bring the operating system from here and install this operating system, and move to the folder which is the name app. Then what I am doing is, copy dot app means I am copying all the files available in the this particular folder, all the files in this particular folder, to move to the app folder, because our work directory will be the app folder, which is the reason I want to move all these files to the app folder. So moving work directory, copying the file, copying all these files to the app directory. Now what is our activity? So as we did initially, to execute the application, we need to have the dependencies. But before installing, when we already have this node underscore modules, we are getting some errors, which is the reason we are not going to install these dependencies, and we will just delete these dependencies of node modules, and we will run these dependencies in the particular folder. After creating a new operating system or the new VM, we will run this, so that in this particular folder this npm install will run, and it will copy, or it will create all these packages with name node underscore modules. Now I deleted this. Next thing is to expose the port. It is to show that I want to run a port with local with port number like this. I want to run localhost with 3000, which is the reason I am giving port as 3000. So and lastly, what we are telling is to run this command. Okay, to run this command, we need to give, we were giving, right, npm run dev. If I want to execute this in this particular node, then I need to pass this. So here, once everything is ready, we need to create a file called docker file, and we need to copy all this. So I created a docker file and copied all this. Now what I need to do? I need to create an image from this particular docker file. What is our next step? We need to create an image, close the VS Code, delete node modules we already did, and now we will open a terminal. So what we are doing, we will check whether any docker ps -all means what are the images which are already available. Docker ps means it will shows which are already active. Docker ps -all, it shows which is already available in the docker hub. And after that, it will we need to go ahead and build this particular docker. We need to build this particular docker image with the help of this. Now what I will do is, I need to build docker build. Where I need to build, I need to build in the same folder. Dot means I need to build in the same folder. In this particular folder itself, I want to build this folder, and I need to give the naming convention for the image. So why I am doing here, we already have a docker file with the instructions what the docker image need to do, and we are giving a tag for this, and we are creating a name called Airbnb clone. So now we are just building this particular docker image with the instructions and related to all these files. See here, we'll see what is happening. So if I click here, if I execute here, it will show building the image, loading the data, getting the information, transferring context, and next it will come transferring, copying the files from here to the folder, app folder. Like that we will see all the steps one by one, and this particular image will be created with all the required setup. So we need to wait some time so that all these files will be moved and the docker image gets created. So here we are creating we are building a docker image with docker space build space dot means local directory, space t means we are giving a naming convention tagging with the name called Airbnb clone. So now we are creating a docker image with name Airbnb clone. Now there is a step running clone dot app. Now it is running. Run npm install means it is inside the already the OS VM is got created. Now this run npm install is installing, is running in the docker image. Means that we will be getting a ready-made template in the form of docker image, wherein docker image will be ready. We just need for the docker to run, so that we no need to perform anything. We can just run from our side, run the container, and the application will be running. Now you can see run npm install is installing the packages internally. Where it is installing, it is installing in this particular location where we created a new VM. It is running this. It will take some time, as we previously performed. It will take some time to perform, to install, to download, or to capture all the required dependencies for this particular application, whether as this is developed in TypeScript and Node.js using React. So all these required components, everything will be installed with the help of this run npm install. After that, what it does, it try to open the port which is with the name, which is with the number 3000. So later, what it will be doing internally, it will be running this particular command. Means it is running the application internally. As it is running internally, from outside I don't need to do anything. Just open our link localhost 3000, it will automatically run. So I will close now. Once docker is built, once it is ready, we will open it again, so that it will be easy for us to understand. So here, what is our next step here? We the build is presently it is running. Once it is done, once it is building, what we will do is we will try to inspect, we will try to understand the properties of the particular image, so that we will see what are all the details available in that image. We need to do that with the help of docker inspect and the image tag name which we give, which is Airbnb clone. So it is still running. We need to wait. It will take some time for the packages to get installed. Once it is built, once everything is ready, we need to run the docker, because Now means that the application and everything is ready. Just you need to run it so that the resources in the image will start acting, will start performing, and will start working. Now we can see our this one is completed. Writing an image is, it is writing, it is completed. What I told, we need to check docker inspect. What is the name we gave? Airbnb clone is the name we gave. So if I execute this, we will get all the details related to the docker image which we created. All information, see here, command npm, what it does, everything information will be there inside this image. We are just seeing what is there in the image. Now what is our next point? We need to run docker run. Docker run, what we need to do? Docker run. What should we do now? Docker run is the command, and we will be doing a detached mode. Detached mode is like, even we stop here executing also, it will be running independently. And we will give a port, what port we want to use. Then we will give on which ip address it need to run. We are giving 3000, and we are mapping that 3000 externally and internally to the application. And we are giving airbnb clone. Airbnb clone is the name which we give, docker run. And this one, now what we need to do is, see, we can see here docker ps, you can see whether it is running or not. Docker ps hyphen all. So you can, it is not running. Not, what we are doing is, as I told, docker run. Here what we will doing, it will be running on a detached mode with a port 127.0.0.1 with 3000. I 3000, we are exposing that 3000 port. And which one we want to run? The name of the docker is airbnb clone is the one which we want to run. So I am running this. It is running, and it allocated a name, container name for this. And now we can see docker ps. If you see here, we will see there is a airbnb image which is running 11 seconds ago. This is the port which we need to do. So now what is the thing? So we have an image already available, and see here, it is already pushed to the docker hub. It is already there in the docker hub. Now for to run the application, previously I was using VS Code and everything. Now I don't require anything. So I just need to run the local machine, which is this one. And what it does, it is running here. This particular thing is running here. And if, as it is running, if this particular local host is running, means this docker will be active and performing correctly, is what. See here, there is no issue, it is in use, latest. So we'll see the local host, it is trying to come up, it is connecting, it is already trying to come up through a local host. We'll see 127, this is the port which we are trying. And let it load for some time, because it need to compile, and it need to perform all the activities which it require. And it is just, we are just analyzing the image and the status of the image, or any issues it is there. In the docker desktop, we can see about the details about the image. So it is still running, it is still loading the dependency packages. We need to wait some time so that it will complete all its activities. As you can see here, this particular clone is already in use. So we are running a local host to run there. When we were running in the VS Code also, it was taking some time to compile the required packages and required dependencies. So in the first time it will take some time. From next time, as it's already loaded, from next time it will be easy, and it will be loading quickly. As being a first time, we will see some lag on the load. Let it load, we'll wait for that to complete. Okay. So if you want to purchase this, you can see the links in the video description, so that you will get an idea of the links to purchase this. See here the website came up and everything is fine. You can see all the working situation. So as I told, this is the way we can deploy the code in our VS Code to the Docker, and we can run the Docker container for the application to run. So as I told, if you are looking for the source code, 100% source code available, you can purchase that source code. You can find out the links in the video description. Thank you.